Next to me is a 2017 Audi A4 Quattro. And if I were to describe this car in one word, it would be underrated. And today, we're going to find out why. So right off the bat, the thing that you'll notice about the 2017 A4 compared to the 2016 and previous models is that this model has the facelift. And that includes sleeker headlights, a sleeker grille that's a little bit larger, just the body lines, and the entire car in general has gotten just more sleek and more aerodynamic, and it looks a lot cooler in my opinion. So for Volkswagen and Audis and Porsches and German stuff in general, what's pretty common is that when you open the door handle, it actually goes up instead of out like a normal car. When you close it, there's actually a cool little pad here that you place your finger on and it locks the whole car. Isn't that just crazy? The same thing with unlocking. You put your hand in and it automatically unlocks, and now it's unlocked. It detects your hand. And I think that's pretty cool for 2017. I'd also like to talk about the tires of this car. Now, it is a four-door family sedan, and it's pretty practical. It has a lot of space. You can do a lot of things with it. You can carry around the family. But it has pretty beefy tires and the Quattro all-wheel drive system, which makes it extremely capable on the road, and it is just not something to underestimate, the power of the Quattro all-wheel drive system. So this interior has gotten a massive update since the last one. The dash and the center console and the transmission and the screen is new. Everything's new. Everything is more sleek and more sporty looking. The build quality is fantastic. Every single shift, every single knob, every single dial, everything just feels really sturdy, really solid. And that is another super good quality about this car. Even the doors, just closing them, it's solid. It's really solid. You don't feel like anything's about to break when you put the wipers on or twist a knob or just do anything. It feels really, really, really good. And that is another perk of having a German car, is that the build quality is exceptional. So after everything I've said about this car being an exceptional value and being very underrated, the only thing that I would perhaps change about it would be the power. Now, this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder from Audi is quite an incredible engine. It feels great, it's super smooth, the power delivery is exceptional for the size that you get. I think it's rated at about 250 horsepower, especially because it's paired to their 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, which helps stretch that power out way, way better than if it were to be paired to a conventional transmission. The only thing I would add would just be more power. And the drivetrain itself, the all-wheel drive Quattro system, is exceptionally good. I think it could handle much, much more power and be way more fun. But you got to consider the price you're paying and the fact that it is an A4 and it's not any of their higher models. So they do fix that issue if you're willing to pay a little bit more. Reliability-wise, I would say it's quite good. This car has about 111,000 miles. We've had no issues with it. So one thing you might not even notice if you own the car is the way that the hood actually opens and closes. It has a very interesting latch mechanism, which goes down and then in, which I think is incredible engineering and a little unnecessary, but it adds to the cool factor that you have an Audi. So one thing I want to talk about is a slight compromise with the A4, and that is room. Now, I'm about 5'11", and my head is about an inch from the ceiling, and my knees are about this close to the driver's seat, so it's not super compact, but you do have to compromise somewhat on the luxury of an extended wheelbase like you will with the A8L. However, you do get some pretty cool convenience features, like you have adjustable climate back here, as well as the fan speed. You have one cigarette lighter port here, and these blank buttons, I assume, are for heated seats. The center console folds down with a switch, and you open it up and find about a ½ inch of room here. I'm not sure what you need that for, but it's there if you need it. And the seats also fold down, which I will get into the trunk. So you have 3 options to open it. There's a switch on the driver's side door. You can press and hold a button on the key, or there's a little button, like on most modern cars, that you can open it with as well. One thing worth noting is that the taillights actually go out like that when you lock it, unlock it, or open the trunk. And that's a pretty cool modern feature that I'm a really big fan of as well. So when talking about trunk space, you can see that with the seats folded down, you could fit about 4 of me back here, which is incredible for the bargain that you get and the practicality that you have. Like, you could haul a massive TV in your Audi A4 if you really needed to.
Now again, with the quality, just listen to this truck.
So with driving, to start it, you push here, starts right up. Put it into drive by clicking in this button, bringing it back, and now you're in drive. And it's that easy, then you're off. Once again, quality. Super solid. Now this car has 4 different drive modes. You can see it pop up on the center screen here. You have individual, dynamic, auto, and comfort. Now putting it in dynamic is the sportiest mode. And when you can see it's in dynamic on the center console, it says dynamic S. Bringing this back once again puts it in dynamic D. S is the slightly sportier mode. I believe it's meant for overtaking, but for a 0 to 60, it doesn't do too bad. So performance-wise, it's actually pretty smooth. The power delivery is incredible. There is a warning light on the dash, and I believe that is for a powertrain mount function, and it does feel slightly sluggish from the last time that I drove it. However, it still performs incredibly well, and it drives just fine without it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this car is a 2-liter turbo paired to a 7-speed DCT. So its strength doesn't necessarily lie in its 0 to 60, but rather it's in its rolling speed. Now the transmission is very quick, so as soon as I put my foot down, it goes right into gear, and boy does it pull. Now as far as just normal driving around town, it is extremely comfortable, and the suspension is incredibly smooth. And I notice that a lot about just Volkswagen in general, but especially the Audi models. They make sure that that suspension is buttery smooth, and it feels like you're riding around on a cloud pretty much everywhere you go. And I have it in comfort mode right now. I'm pretty sure it does actually change something to do with the dampeners on the shocks. I'm not entirely sure on that, but altogether it is just a really, really solid car. And because of the Quattro all-wheel drive system, it is a great daily. You can drive it during winter, in the snow. I've done it before. It's incredible. I mean, it grips extremely, extremely well, assuming that you buy nice tires for it. Which leads me to another con, which would be the German side of it. It is just kind of expensive, and you have to keep up with the maintenance, or else things like the drive shaft warning will pop up. Got to make sure the oil is still good. Tires aren't the cheapest for this. It's not going to be a Toyota Corolla, and maintenance in general is just not quite as cheap as you would want it to be. But in my opinion, for the price that you pay and the experience that you get and the practicality that you get in this car, I think it is an absolute sweet spot for your everyday person to enjoy their car satisfaction. So just to wrap up little things, the lights are actually touch activated. So there's no need for a button to turn them on, to turn them off, which I think is quite nice. The volume knob you can actually skip songs with, and it's down here rather than up where the AC controls would be. The cup holders do have a nice little light around them. Everything about the quality of this is really nice, like I mentioned earlier. Check out the sound of this button. Super high quality sound. There are 3 driver stocks. So you have your turn signal stock, you have your wiper stock, and you have your cruise control stock, which is actually down here, which is fascinating. There's nothing on the steering wheel. And that is about it.